Well, good afternoon and welcome. I'm Dale Kretzer, Kay's son-in-law. I think I know everybody here, but just in case. And I might remind you to put your cell phones on stun or something appropriate while we're up here. It's a pleasure to see so many of you here today and to join in marking the passing of our family matriarch, Onita Kathleen Lant, and celebrate her life through shared memories of our time with her over the years. A secondary element in these memorial services is recognizing the importance of bonds with family and friends and strengthening them by drawing together at such a crucial time. These events encourage us to recommit to the ties that bind us through good times and bad. Kay was the last of her generation still with us, the final survivor of her large family, which included 11 siblings, 5 brothers and 6 sisters. Kay was the 6th child, but outlived them all into her 96th year. Their parents were Roy Denton Highsmith and Vinnie Ethel Mills, a farming couple in Welch, Oklahoma. Kay was born September 15th, 1922 in Welch and passed away here October 4th. She is survived by her children, Peggy Levine of Maple Valley, Washington, Sharon Hausman Kretzer of Citrus Heights, Jolene Nolan of Vancouver, Washington, and Eddie Jean Finley of Rio Linda. Sadly, she was preceded in death by sons James Hirschman of Reno, Nevada, and Larry Hirschman of Sacramento. She leaves behind a large family, including 18 grandchildren, 32 great-grandchildren, and 12 great-great-grandchildren, including the newest, born just 2 days ago. There's a Cherokee Indian expression appropriate to this occasion. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. I also found the words of this poem by an unknown author apply well to Kay's life and passing. It's entitled simply, I'm Free. Don't grieve for me, for now I'm free. I'm following the path God has laid, you see. He took his hand, I took his hand when I heard him call. I turned my back and left it all. I could not stay another day to laugh, to love, to work, to play. Tasks left undone must stay that way. I found that peace at the close of day. If my parting has left a void, then fill it with remembered joy, a friendship shared, a laugh, a kiss. Oh yes, these things I too will miss. Be not burdened with times of sorrow. I wish you the sunshine of tomorrow. My life's been full, I savored much. Good friends, good times, a loved one's touch. Perhaps my time seemed all too brief. Don't lengthen it now with undue grief. Lift up your hearts and peace to thee. God wanted me now, he set me free. Well, I got to know Kay well over the last 16 years. I wasn't around to share in her younger and more active years. So my memories of time with her are limited when compared to so many of you. We'd like to hear and share some of your favorite stories about her, and we'll start with those of immediate family. First, we'll hear from her daughter Sharon, and we'll also be listening between remarks to songs appropriate to some thoughts and share some of the more of the photo slideshow. Sharon?
Don't grieve for Mom because her life is over. smile because she was with us for 96 years. Mom was born in Welch in 1922 to Roy and Ethel Highsmith, like Dale said. A picture of her birth home is included in the slideshow that we're going to show, and my grandmother, Ethel Highsmith, is standing out in front of this it's kind of a two-story shack. It was a tough life during the 1920s with little money and the Great Dust Bowl devastating the crops. Every child tended the animals and had lots of chores to do. They used baking soda for toothpaste. Clothes were handmade from flour and grain sacks. Toilet paper was pages torn out of the Sears catalog. And you ate everything on your plate as you were never sure when that next meal was coming. My mother met Elmer Hirschman, my dad, and his brother Alfred at a barn dance, and Elmer and Ethel married soon after. My older sister Peggy and my older brother James Roy were both born in Oklahoma. In 1943, my parents moved to Vallejo, California. My dad, Elmer, had been drafted into the service, but was deferred as it was discovered by the medical staff that he had flat feet. Instead of being accepted into the service, he was employed as a ship fitter at Mare Island, and I was born in California, in Vallejo, along with my little brother, Larry Martin. Later, Mom married Jim Finley, moved to Sacramento, and had 2 more children, my younger sister, Jolene Kay, and the baby of the family, Eddie Jean. Mom worked long hours for the telephone company as a long-distance operator, and later as a waitress for Lyons restaurants. She enjoyed meeting the customers and friends that she made there. One of them, which is here today with us, Jerry, also lived across the street from us. Her third husband, Lonnie Lant, was a good man and exceptional to Mom, spoiled her like she deserved, loved her completely, and together they bought an RV and started traveling. They moved back to Oklahoma and stayed there for over 10 years, so Mom could get reacquainted with her family and meet everyone that she had been missing for almost 50 years. A few years ago, her heart started failing, and she developed other ailments that hindered her activities. She was fiercely independent, but once she went into a large assisted living facility, she made lots of friends and was happy in her cute little apartment. Mom tried to be strong over the last few years, and we made the most of the time she had left. We talked a lot about her life lessons and both her California and Oklahoma families. Whenever she was able, we would share memories, go shopping, or I would make some of mine and her favorite foods, but she would always watch me and make sure I did it correctly. I received a lot of condolence messages from my cousins in Oklahoma. The first was from Sandra, whose mother was my mom's sister, Jean. And I quote, "I can just hear Aunt Kay now, laughing and hugging all the family that has welcomed her home. She is with God and happier than we can even imagine." And another quote from her sister, Sue-Ann. "My heart is heavy for us all, as I remember her love she so willingly gave to everyone in the family. I will always remember how much she loved and cared for Grandma Highsmith. She was all heart. Prayers for our cousins. You are blessed with a beautiful and loving mom." Sorry. Another cousin, Sally, from mother's sister, Doretha, wrote, "I am so glad that we got to help her celebrate her 96th birthday with the gift of flowers which she so dearly loved." Another cousin, Greg, he's ministers at the Cowboy Junction Church, and he's the son of mother's younger brother, Bud, wrote, "There is in heaven tonight a grand reunion of the Highsmith family," referring to the other 10 siblings and their mom and dad. And then her mother's sister-in-law, Maxine Highsmith, wrote, "It's with a broken heart I send you and your siblings my deepest sympathy. Kay was the most loving, kind-hearted lady, and we had so many good times together. She will be missed here on earth, but there will be a great reunion in heaven when she meets her parents and siblings. Love to you all. I will sorely miss my mother. She was my friend. I have a poem that I would like to read, I think, that says it all. It is a special bond that spans the years through laughter, worry, smiles, and tears. A sense of trust that can't be broken, a depth of love sometimes unspoken, a lifelong friendship built on hugs, sharing, and kisses, warmth, and caring. Mother and daughter, their hearts as one, a link that can never be undone.
That was a beautiful song. That's Only Time by Enya. Next up is someone who probably has the oldest memories of Kay of anyone here. Her oldest daughter, Peggy. Make it up over that step.
I can do it just like all by myself.
All by yourself.
I am not an invalid. I can do it all by myself.
First off, I want to thank Sharon and Dale for all they have done for Mother and Lonnie. I'm sure my siblings agree. Sharon is one of the most loving people I know. She is creative, and she takes care of details. I appreciate and love Sharon very much. Well, we are gathered here today in memory of my mother. How do I pick what to say about a mother when I have 96 years to choose from? Let's start from my beginning. I was born 80 years ago in a 2-room shack in the northeastern corner of Oklahoma. Mother was only 15 years old and had to iron my starched dresses with an iron heated on a wood stove. Grandma told me that I had bowed legs because Mother refused to let me be on the floor, and so I was not allowed to crawl. By the time Mother was 22, she had 4 kids, working as a waitress. It's sometimes hard to imagine how difficult life was then. Yet, at the time, we didn't know any different. Imagine living without disposable diapers and a washer and dryer. It was not easy being a young mother, little money, and 4 kids. The kitchen was like a sauna. Diapers were drying on wood racks everywhere. Mother would turn all of the gas burners and the oven on to dry the diapers. Now I'm wondering if that was safe. We lived in government housing near the bridge over the Carquina Strait. The water was very deep for the ships to get to the shipyard. When I was little, my friends and I played in the no trespassing area, in and out of the bomb shelter. One day, we decided to go exploring and make stairs down the cliff to the water to see if it was cold. Jim was around 4 years old, a real pain in the neck, always following me and never minding. Jim fell down the cliff. He managed to grab hold of a bush just as he hit the deep water. I scrambled down, but I could not figure out how to pull him out of the water. Of course, my friends had all disappeared instead of going for help. I helped Jim get a better grip on the bush and went to get Mother. As she started the slide down the cliff, she told me to go find more people to help because she didn't know how to swim. When I returned with help, Mother had managed to get Jim out of the water, but they were both crying, and she couldn't move because she was afraid of drowning. When Mother and I were at Jim's memorial service, we talked about that day, and neither one could remember how she got back up the cliff. In the early 60s, Jim and I went back to the spot where he fell into the water. God was definitely looking out for us on that day so many years ago. Mother always looked younger than her age and had a passion for life. She was a very pretty lady and took pride in her appearance. When we would go someplace together, people always thought we were sisters, and I was the oldest. We were pregnant with our last child at the same time. Eddie was born on March 25th, 1959, and my daughter Llewellyn was born on May 25th, 1959. A mother and child connection is so profound, and my mother had her own unique relationship with each of her 6 children. When my son John was a toddler, his Uncle Paul returned home from the rodeo circuit. He was excited about his new roping horse and began to unload it. I asked Paul where he got it. Paul said he bought it from an Indian outside of Welch, Oklahoma. I was surprised because our family was either related to or knew most everyone from the small town of Welch. I asked to see the sales papers and was thrilled to see that the horse was purchased from Uncle Bud, Mother's brother. I could hardly wait to tell Mother what a small world we live in. For many years, Mother and Lonnie shared a love of square dancing. Mother had fun dressing up in all of her frilly dresses and petticoats and finding just the right matching shirt for her man. When Lonnie started making Indian jewelry, she had first picked and enjoyed wearing the beautiful works of art that he had created. When someone admired her jewelry, Mother would frequently sell the rings right from her hands. Lonnie thought she was the best salesperson. After all, she loved all the jewelry he created. When Mother and Lonnie were living down on the river, it would get super hot during the summer. They would escape to the great Northwest, visiting many of you on the way. They would usually stay with my family until the blackberries were ready for picking. They made blackberry jam and canned whatever we had in the garden or they found at the farmer's market. My family enjoyed their extended stays. Mother would have a yummy dinner waiting when we got home from work each night. What a treat. One of the favorite requests from my daughter was Grandma's enchiladas. Mother put lots of tender, loving care into that recipe. I know many of you have enjoyed that delicious dish as well. One summer, John wanted to build an unusual home on his in-laws' property. He told Lonnie what he wanted to do. Mother was proud of Lonnie for volunteering to teach and help John build this house. The house was 2 stories with a huge barn attached. The house wasn't very big, but the barn was very big. Mother and Lonnie stayed the whole summer, and it was such a special treat to get some quality time with them. When Mother and Lonnie moved back from Oklahoma, they moved close to Sharon, and she took them under her wing. Mother had a good sense of humor, a requirement in the Highsmith family. Her brothers teased her unmercifully. When I came down to visit, in order to be able to spend more time with Mother, I would tell her she was stuck with me until I had to go home. When Sharon and Dale's phone would ring, if it was Mother, I would answer and pretend I was Sharon. Mother knew it was me and would play along with it. We always had a good laugh. One of the most important things that Mother took pride in was her American Indian heritage. The great-grandkids referred to Mother as their Indian grandmother. Mother kept her coal-black Indian hair long after my hair was totally gray. When she came to visit, she would frequently have an Indian trinket for the kids. She had an Indian headband that she left at our house to wear when she saw the kids. And I didn't write this on here, but we didn't have a feather, so we found a feather from, what are those, the animals that have fluff their peacock. It was a peacock feather, yes. And that's what, she had one peacock feather. So when we were helping Mother downsize so she could move into her assisted living apartment, she was determined to bring her Native American artwork and dolls to decorate. My mother was very proud of her heritage and wanted all her children and grandchildren to cherish it as well. So I leave you today with a Native American prayer that I feel my mother would love. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am the 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glint in the snow. I am the sunlight on the ripened grain. I am the autumn's gentle rain. When you awaken in the morning, hush. I am the swift, uplifting rush. Of quiet birds in circle flight, I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. Rest in peace, Mother.
Have your fears and your pain.
That, of course, was Dancing in the Sky by Danny and Lizzie. And it's easy to picture Kay dancing in the sky. The slideshow that you're watching was put together by Debbie, and we very much appreciate it. There's a lot of interesting photos in there that I had never seen before. And Facebook. So Debbie has remarks now, and we'd like to invite her up here. This is kind of moving around.
Okay. I'm honored to be assisting with the memory by reading this tribute for my husband, Eddie. Eddie and his mom, Kay, had always had a bond that went beyond mother and son. After the other children left the nest, they became even closer and shared a lot of together moments along with some great memories. Ed wanted me to share with you the time he, Lonnie, and Kay were on their way to Washington to visit Peggy and passing through Granite's Pass. It was a late night and raining hard. Ed was about 10 years old and sleeping in the back seat, dressed only in his socks and pajamas, and cuddled up with his little dog, BB. Lonnie pulled into a gas station and asked if anyone had to use the restroom. Ed was sleeping, so Kay got out and dodged the rain for the restroom. Lonnie started pumping the gas. Ed woke up, and nature was calling, so he jumped out of the car and ran to the restroom. And when he came back out of the front door of the gas station, the little boy was standing there watching Lonnie and Kay drive down the road. Leaving him stranded and standing in the rain in his pajamas, the attendant had saw what had happened and offered to call the highway patrol to assist in finding the parents. Meanwhile, down the road, BB was barking and barking and barking, and Kay spoke over her shoulder and told Eddie to make baby be quiet. And BB kept on barking, and so Kay turned around and, what? No, Ed. They immediately turned around, went back to the gas station where they found Ed apparently waiting for them to return. It was a happy ending to a very harrowing experience for such a little guy. If you sit and talk with Ed for any length of time, you will find that he has a wonderful sense of humor and has a great love for swapping stories. These stories frequently involved his mom and other friends and relatives. If you have a good story, he usually has one better. Ed shares a lot of these stories about his time growing up with his mom and the trips that they made to Marine World, San Francisco, Washington, and a cabin camping wherever Lonnie was working on a construction job for Peter Hewitt. As I'm sure you all know, no one can replace the hole in our hearts that losing a mother creates. Kay loved Ed with all her heart, and was common knowledge to the rest of the children that he was always going to be her special little baby boy. Her memory will always be a keepsake which will hold dear in our hearts. Rest in peace, sweet lady.
First thing that I'm gonna do is spread my wings and fly. I'm gonna land beside the line, run my fingers through his name, or I might find out what it's like to ride a drop of rain. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. step for step. And I'll tell him how I've missed him every minute since he left. And I'll hug his neck, yeah, when I get where I'm going. There'll be only happy tears. I will share the sins and struggles I have carried all these years. And I leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. So much pain, so much darkness in this world we stumble through. All these questions I can't answer, so much work to do. But when I get where I'm going, and I see my Maker's face, I'll stand forever in the light of His amazing grace. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will love and have no
And that, of course, was Brad Paisley and Dolly Parton, When I Get to Where I'm Going. Well, we've heard from immediate family, but I know there's some other memories and little stories that others of you have to share. And we would love to hear anything that comes to mind that helps us fill in the time of that Kay was with us over all these years. You can come up here, or you can stand in place, and Lily there has a portable microphone so that everybody can hear you, and she'll bring it right to you. So, who has something can tell us? Here, Lily.
Who?
Over here. Stand up so Lily can see you. There you go.
Thank you, Lily. I really don't need this. I was thinking of one of my favorite memories of Grandma when she would come up to Reno to go to the dances, the square dances, and she was getting ready for one of the square dances, doing her hair, you know, up over the top of her head and just getting wild with the curls and what have you. And they kept chasing us kids away because we were in the way. So I didn't really know the finished result until we got to the convention center with all the dancers out on the floor doing their big square dances. And her and Lonnie out there just bursting and having such fun and dancing out there. And they'd get all done and come over and wipe a little sweat off their brow and have a drink and back out there again. And I just remember taking all the pictures and thinking, that's my grandma. Yeah, that's just one of my best ones of Grandma.
Yeah, they love that square dancing. Okay, someone else, please. Did we cover it that well? Well, okay then. With no one else with anything more to say, I think it's time we close this memorial with a prayer. Would you bow with me, please? Heavenly Father, we praise your name and thank you for the many blessings in our lives. We ask that you look upon Kay, deliver her and set her free from every bond, so that she may rest in your arms. Reveal your truth to those who are bereaved, so that they may meet the days ahead in your peace. Grant us the grace to entrust Kay to your never-failing love, and remember her according to the love which she has bestowed upon us in her lifetime. Grant to her rest eternal, and let perpetual light shine in her as she joins with loved ones who await her. May she ever live in your light as she lives in our hearts. We ask these blessings in Jesus' name, amen. At this time, we're going to hear one final song. Sharon was just asking about when we're going to do the roses. We're going to hear Kay and Lonnie's favorite song. And while it's playing, the ladies are going to pass out a single rose to each of the women here as another memory of Kay, because roses were her favorite flower. The song is, you'll all know, Furlan Husky's On the Wings of a Dove.
On the wings of a snow-white dove, he sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove, when troubles surround us, when evils come, the body grows weak, the spirit grows numb. When these things beset us, he doesn't forget us. He sends down his love on the wings of a dove. On the wings of a snow-white dove, he sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove, when Noah had drifted on the flood's many days, he searched for land in various ways. Troubles he had some, but wasn't forgotten. He sent him his love on the wings of a dove. On the wings of a snow-white dove, he sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove, on the wings of a snow-white dove, he sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove, on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a dove.
Okay, that concludes our our memorial for today. It would be wonderful if you could all come over to our house for some light refreshment and more time to visit with all of you. We're at 7027 Forbes Way. If by chance you don't know how to get there, ask the person next to you. But I think you all know how to get there. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I was actually in broadcasting and all for years when I was younger, but it's been many a year.
That's my son, isn't he gorgeous? When he sees baby, look at
far side of the sky. The first thing that I'm gonna do is spread my wings and fly. I'm gonna land beside a lion and run my fingers through his mane, where I might find out what it's like to ride a drop of rain. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. I'm gonna walk with my granddaddy, and he'll match me step for step, and I'll tell him how I've missed him every minute since he left. And then I'll hug his neck. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. With so much pain and so much much darkness in this world we stumble through. All these questions I can't answer, and so much work to do. But when I get where I'm going, and I see my Maker's face, I'll stand forever in the light of His amazing grace. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will love and have no Yeah, when I get where I'm On the wings of a snow white dove, He sends His pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove, when troubles surround us, when evils come, the body grows weak, the spirit grows numb. When these things beset us, He doesn't forget us. He sends down His love, on the wings of a dove. On the wings of a snow white dove, He sends His pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove. When Noah had drifted on the flood many days, he searched for land. In various ways. Troubles he had some, but wasn't forgotten. He sent him His love, on the wings of a dove. On the wings of a snow white dove, He sends His pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove. On the wings of a snow white dove, He sends His